What's up, guys? Welcome to Mikey Yourself. For today's video, we're going to be replacing a kitchen sink faucet. So just recently my faucet broke. It is just, this thing is done. There is a threaded pipe essentially that goes from the bottom up through this, and it's what allows you to tighten it down and keeps this nice and steady as you move this thing side to side and you pull on the handle or whatnot. But now that thing is rusted so bad it finally just gave out and broke. So if you try to turn on the water or move this thing around, it's just, you know, is not working out. So we're going to go ahead and replace this with a new faucet, and let's take a look at that. All right, so here's the kit that I bought to replace our broken sink. I picked this up just locally at the Home Depot because I need to get this done, and I didn't want to really spend any time shopping online or anything like that. I'll go ahead and provide the link to this in the description. But the kit is very, very simple. You have, this is your base plate. So this is going to be the chrome side. And this is just the base. So it's got a little rubber grommet there. You got your weight, which is used when you, because this is a pull down style faucet. You put this on the bottom, that's what pulls your hose back. And then you got your locking ring set up here. So what this is going to do is it's going to screw on here. So once you slide this through your sink top, right? So you got your base plate, you slide this through your sink, you take that nut set here and you screw it on, and that's what keeps everything in place. Okay, so very simple. Again, not a hard project at all. So very much worthwhile to just do it yourself. And you've got your two ends here. If you're replacing something, if you're just replacing one, this is very simple. If you don't have anything like this in your faucet, in your kitchen right now, then you may have to swap out the valves that are connected to your sink today, or get some adapters so that way these can be screwed on, because you may have some older style ones which I believe used a bigger hose line. So just be aware of that. Take a look before you go shopping so that way you know what you're up against. I recommend taking pictures also, because if you have questions and you're there at your local hardware store, you can ask the question to the workers there, and they may be able to fill you in a little bit more, or even other folks that are shopping sometimes are very helpful. So let's take a look under the sink and see what we have to remove. All right, so this is the bottom of the sink. So you see it's got that locking ring there with a couple of screws that I'll need to loosen. That one's very rusted, and the reason probably why it broke. And then it's got the three lines. One is hot, one is cold, and the other one is the actual sink line itself, so it just kind of circles back. If you look there, you can see where the hot water connects to that valve, and then the cold water is on that one. So you'll want to turn off your water valves here, and before you disconnect those lines, or else you're going to end up with a mess. Additionally, I always recommend putting a towel down below, so that way any water that's in the line after you turn off the valve, it's going to drip. So rather have it just drip on a towel instead of the surface you're working on, because you might want to lay down there or put your head there and then end up getting a head full of water or your shirt soaked. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off those valves and loosen up that ring. All right, guys, so I ended up having to sever the lines because that threaded area that was rusted, it broke off, so I couldn't even spin this at all. So I just went ahead and took some tin snips and cut through the hose lines there. And you can see, as I had mentioned, you know, stuff's gonna leak, so good to have a towel or something to catch some of that water. So I'm gonna try to act quick and put in the new faucet just to to get stuff from leaking any further. Taking a look from the top down, you can see, like I said, this is just a plate. Very simple, so I'm gonna clean that off. This is a 4-hole sink, and the way you count that is you just count the holes, right? The 4th hole is this, which is being used for the garbage disposal. But here is the old faucet, and you can see that threaded pipe just broke right off from being so old and just rusted out. So I'm going to get the new one in there really quick, and I'll bring you back. Okay, just doing a quick double check on the instructions, and looking at the order of things, right? So you got your plate, your little rubber gasket there, you got the rubber solid ring, then the threaded jack nut with the screws that go in. So pretty simple. And then the weight clamps on to the hose that you would be pulling down on, and you want it to be brought back up. So I'm going to go ahead and get the top part in, and we'll take a look at that. Okay, the top side is in now, so I just put that mounting plate there. I put that threaded area and the hoses right through the middle. I like to have my control here on the right hand side. Technically you can put it wherever you want because this thing swivels, and this is of course the pull down, and like I said, it's limp because that weight's not on the back end pulling it up. So we're going to go ahead and put the lock nut and stuff on there, and that'll straighten this out, and then we're off to the hoses. All right, so the unit's been tightened down. It's not wiggling. Okay, so that pivots, and like I said, once I get that weight on there, that'll keep that from drooping. So now my next steps are to undo the old hot water and cold water hoses and just put on these new ones and turn the valves back on, and it'll be a done deal. So I'm going to go ahead and put the phone down so I can knock this out and show you the final product. Alright, so here's our finished product. All nice and installed. You see it's not dipping anymore because it's got the weight on the bottom. I'll show you what that looks like. So that just goes back in there, and then put your on off. It's all good to go. Then underneath there's that weight I was talking about, so that's on there. The new lines are installed. You want to just double check to make sure you don't have anything dripping, because you have to retighten the line or anything. And that's it. So I'll show you the tools that I use, and then we'll take one last look at the old one. Super simple. These were really the 2 tools I just needed to unscrew the 3 screws and as part of that locking deal. You may need channel locks if yours is tight, or even a set of gloves might help. And then the adjustable wrench was used for the water lines, and that's it. Now I did have to use these 10 snips because, as I mentioned, and I'll show you the hose, I had to cut the lines in order to get the old one out. And here is that old one. So you can see the old threaded cylinder completely rusted out and broke. So the lock nut there was just, it's rusted in place. I couldn't get it free, and because of the fact that it was not attached to the base of the old deal anymore, I couldn't leverage any strength on it to break it loose. So I just felt it was easier to go ahead and cut through the lines and get it out of there. So pretty quick and easy job, especially if you don't have to do the extra steps that I had to do, like cutting these lines. Minimal tools, as you saw, just a screwdriver and an adjustable wrench. I do recommend you wear safety glasses when you're working underneath anything that stuff might fall into your eyes. Just, you got to protect those things, especially when you're working with something like this and you got old rust falling down into your face. You don't want to get that into your eyes, end up with tetanus or something, who knows. So be safe, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I produce every Sunday at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, in the morning, that is. And if you have any suggestions or any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd like to hear your input, or answer any questions I might be able to help you out with if you've never done this before and you're looking to do it for your first time. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.